Hey there, fellow CEOs. Let's talk about the uncomfortable truth about goal setting. We've all heard it: set goals, crush goals, repeat. But what about when goal setting feels, well, uncomfortable? Maybe it's the fear of failure. Maybe it's the sheer scale of the goal, or maybe it's just the plain old effort it takes. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of goal setting and how to push past that discomfort. So, we'll explore strategies to make goal setting a motivating force and not just simply a source of stress. So, let's go ahead and dive in. So, today, we're going to go over 8 key reasons you may find it difficult to set goals. The first one, being the most popular in my opinion, is the fear of failure. So, fear of failure is usually the anxiety of not achieving a goal that can prevent people from even attempting to set one, especially if they have a history of not reaching their goals. Okay, who has experienced that one when setting goals? Is maybe that a current one? All right, write this down. You can also head to the show notes and you can find all of these as well, to kind of really allow this to sink in as I go through the rest of them as well. But fear of failure has definitely been something in my past that has prevented me from setting these goals and reaching them. All right, number two here is the lack of clarity. So, not knowing what you truly want or having vague goals that can make it hard to create a concrete plan of action. Yeah, when we don't have clarity, that makes it a lot harder to set a goal when we don't know where we're going, right? So, has a lack of clarity prevented you from setting goals, right? Now, I might leave you hanging. There's going to be some solutions here, some action steps, all right, later on. So, the third one here is unrealistic expectations, OMG, right? Like setting goals that are too ambitious or not aligned with your current abilities. And that those can lead to discouragement and giving up very easily. Who's had that one? Who is having that one right now? Okay, so far I am I have all three of them at some point in my life. All right, I feel like everyone has experienced at least 50% of these, if not all of them, at some point. But the goal is that you don't continuously experience them forever. All right. So the fourth one is poor planning. So not breaking down large goals into smaller achievable steps can make the process feel incredibly overwhelming and daunting. And so poor planning, I am a planner and I have definitely had poor planning. Sometimes over planning actually is poor planning, interesting enough. All right. But anyway, has anyone had poor planning? Right? Number five, lack of motivation. If a goal doesn't align with your personal values or your interests, it can be difficult to stay committed. Who has had a lack of motivation to actually set these goals, achieve these goals, any of these things, right? Lack of motivation. Okay. I am so far all five of them I have had, and some of them maybe still to this day. We'll see. Number six, self doubt. Believing you are not capable of achieving your goal that can hinder your efforts to even try. Yeah. Are we doubting ourselves? Who's doubting themselves? Right? Yes, I feel like some of these they never really go away because, new level, new devil, once you up level, the new thing starts happening. So it might be a different level of uncomfortable now that you are at. And some of these things might still be preventing you from really setting these goals. All right, number seven, overwhelm. When faced with too many potential goals, it can be difficult to choose one and focus on it. So who has a really hard time at prioritizing goals? Right? There's too many potentials, there's too many things you want to focus on. Sometimes it gets very overwhelming and then you can't make a decision, right? Who has had that? Right? Maybe you're having it right now. And the last one is number 8 here is lack of accountability. So not having a system to track your progress or share your goals with others can make it easier to procrastinate, right? Not actually do the things that you need to do in order to get these things done. And that could even be setting the goal. Like we're talking, like not even talking about achieving the goal, but we're talking about setting the goal here. This is why you might find it difficult. So number 1, fear of failure. 2, lack of clarity. 3, unrealistic expectations. 4, poor planning. 5, lack of motivation. 6, self-doubt. 7, overwhelm. And 8 is lack of accountability, right? You can head to the show notes and you can grab that list. But if you're someone that's finding it really hard to be setting goals, it's really uncomfortable right now, which one of these 8, which one of these feels the heaviest to you, right? I really want you to start identifying the root causes of the actual uncomfortable and what the past is showcasing to you now, One of the biggest things I've learned is that the past is totally, absolutely shaping your right now, but your present and your past can totally also, for the better, shape your future. Okay, so that is like some huge, like you really have to believe that your past is not going to hold you back. Your current self is setting your future self up for success, right? So we all know now, depending on how long we've been in the entrepreneurial world. But we all know now as entrepreneurs that we signed up for way more than we originally thought, right? We used to think setting personal goals was difficult enough. And now we get to add in the big old business goals. And adding in those goals might be a little uncomfortable. So, running your own business isn't for the faint of heart by any means. I'm sure you know that now. It comes with so many challenges, just like everything else in life. But I feel like, you signed up for this one, though, right? As soon as you've overcome one of those challenges, the next one makes an appearance, right? The new level, the new devil, right? You up level, it's a new challenge. And that's why we get to get comfortable with being uncomfortable quite frequently. Okay. And so once you've identified a few of these root causes of your struggles with setting goals, you're now able to start working through them. Okay. I'm a firm believer in we are not going to get anywhere until, or at least not where we want to go, in a very efficient manner, and I love to be efficient, if we're not getting to the root cause. If we're treating symptoms, we're not going to get there. But if we figure out what the root cause is, which is buried underneath all these symptoms, that's what we're going to be able to really make some movement. Okay. In some ways that you can improve your goal setting here is going to be getting very, very, very clear on what your values are, right? To your core. What is important to you and what are your core values, right? Really digging deep into what feels in alignment, what feels in integrity, what is really your mission and your values, getting very, very clear to your core what those are for yourself as an individual, but also as a business owner. Okay. The next thing that might be able to help you improve your goal setting is how do you actually process information, right? Are you someone that needs to talk it out and someone else needs to take those notes for you? Or are you someone that needs to write it out, right? And then you're able to kind of move it. Or are you someone that's kind of in between? I am definitely an in-between person. I like to talk it out and have someone else take notes, or I like to talk it out and I take notes, but I also like to write it out sometimes. So I have all these resources to have me do both that are in my life, right? And so the third way that you might be able to improve your goal setting might be what resources are available to you around setting goals, right? And I'm going to actually share a resource with you later at the end of this podcast, okay? But what resources are available to you around setting goals? Do you have a mentor already that can help you with setting goals? Do you have a business friend so they get the entrepreneurial world, right? Do you have a partner that is also right alongside you that can help you with setting these goals? And do you have any actual written or video or any resources available to you in your vault of resources I'm sure you've accumulated that can help you with setting these goals that are actually going to be super helpful to you? Okay, so really think about that. What is available to you that you can utilize right now or when you're setting these goals, getting more comfortable with setting these goals? All right, so the fourth one here is achieving goals usually takes more time and sometimes effort than we originally think, right? So if you think that the goal will take, let's say, 3 months to achieve, I tend to double it. So if I have a goal for 3 months, life is going to life. Something else is going to come in there. Maybe we didn't put as many steps in there because we didn't realize there were so many in the beginning. But now we have twice as many steps. So now, of course, now we're going to have to double the amount of time. And instead of feeling like we failed, we now have just created enough buffer for real life to happen and business to happen. And, because if you achieve a goal faster, no big deal, right? Yay. Like you get to celebrate some more, but it's not going to set you back by achieving it early. But your brain is going to process it as setting it back when you achieve it later than you expected. Okay. So we're going to use this information to our advantage. Okay. So if you think it's going to take 3 months to achieve, make it 6 months, right? We're going to double it. And why? Right? I explained why a little bit already. Because I know myself, right? I'm speaking from experience and I'm speaking from all of the coaching clients that I have had as well. And so you tend to think that you're Wonder Woman or a Wonder Person, right? Superman, Wonder Woman, whatever, when you're setting goals. And most of the time we need to be way more realistic with their actual capacity of what the outcomes are of those goals and what is actually going to take to achieve those goals. All right. So when we're really real with ourselves, it's actually really uncomfortable to be really real with yourself. And so when you're really real with yourself, you're able to actually set some more realistic, achievable goals and in proper timeframes. Okay. So once you've identified these root causes of your goal setting struggles, we're actually going to take some action. Okay. So here are some practical tips to help you overcome this discomfort, this uncomfortable, right, that you're feeling to actually set these goals, but also then, of course, achieve them. Because that is always the goal, right? To achieve the goals that we set, right? So the first thing is going to be like just breaking it down. I want you, after you've like set this goal, right, no matter what this goal is, divide your goals into smaller, more manageable steps. And this is going to make the process less daunting and help you stay motivated. And here's a pro tip is to store these goals and their steps inside of a project management tool like ClickUp to keep you on track, right? You can set due dates, you can have your team come in and support you where you need it to be. There's so many ways, but it keeps it more top of mind, especially if you're already used to going into a project management tool to check all the things, right? The second thing is we're going to visualize success, but not in the way that everyone says to visualize success. Those things have never really worked for me. So there's a little bit of a spin on here. I want you to dig really, really deep. What is the core reason, the real reason you want to achieve this goal that you've set? Okay, what is the real deep rooted in your gut reason? Put it into like what I would say is like a tangible painting so you can see it. But think about it in this respect. What happens to you? What happens to your family? What happens to your business, etc., when you achieve these goals? Right? A little bit of a spin on that is like actually digging deep. It's not surface level. It's not fancy. It's not, fantasy type things, right? It actually feels like reality because you've dug so deep into what is that core reason that you've set this goal. Okay? Because when you have it so deeply rooted, the chances of you not doing it, not achieving it becomes almost zero. Okay? We're probably at like 2%. So this can really, really help you stay focused and motivated when you visualize that success and what it can do for you to your core and the core reason that it was set to begin with. Okay? So the third one here is getting outside accountability. When I say outside accountability, it means not yourself. Okay? We are great at not holding ourselves accountable, especially when we have these barriers in place that are preventing us from, setting the goals and achieving these goals, right? When we have the outside accountability, that's when we're able to really, really get this stuff done. So you can share your goals with a trusted friend, okay? Someone that gets you as a human, someone that gets you as a business owner is even better, right? Any relevant family members, if there's family members that need to help you, need to support you in order to be able to achieve these goals, making sure those family members know, or if you have a mentor, coach, someone that is, supporting you along this journey, tell them too. And so that way you can have the support and encouragement, especially when you're questioning everything. Because when you're pushing away outside accountability, that is a sign that you really, really need it. If you're like, no, I'm going to do this by myself, that's when you're like, really need to evaluate why. What feels super uncomfortable about having this person hold you accountable, right? And that's something you get to really sit with. What is the real truth deep down as to why you're pushing away outside accountability or why you're not listening to those outside people that you have entrusted with keeping you accountable, right? Because you're going to start questioning everything and you're going to start pushing people away, and you need those people to be able to support you in those hard times. So you really have to be able to trust them as well, but also we need to trust ourselves. All right, this fourth one here is celebrating your wins, but not in the way that most people say to celebrate your wins. I want you to surround yourself with people that celebrate with you even the smallest wins. Every single win is huge, even if it feels like it's super small. Like you just setting the goal, if you struggle with setting the goal, that's a huge win. I want you to go celebrate, right? Every single step towards that goal is huge. And by celebrating these wins and these people that you surrounded yourself with checking in on you and saying, oh my gosh, what was your win this week? Because we get to celebrate it, right? And when you can do it together, this is super powerful because this is going to boost your confidence and it's going to keep you motivated to actually keep going, right? Because everyone has wins. Everyone has a win every single week. But in this case, we're talking about these specific goals that you're working toward on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, right? We're working toward them all the time. And the last thing here we're going to cover is learning from failure. I want you to look at failure from a different lens. I don't think anyone can honestly fail unless they decide to just give up. They just stop. And so look at it through this different lens. If you didn't try at all, you wouldn't be a single step closer to winning. I'd even go as far as celebrating the failures. This was a hard one for me when I first realized that I needed to celebrate failure because it meant that I've learned something and now I have a lot more data to back it up, to work with, to continue on this journey. So whenever something didn't go quite as well as I had hoped it would, I was like, okay, well, why didn't it go that well? Right? What did I learn from this? Now, what data do I have that I get to pull from for the future to make this make more sense for the future, right? For the right now, even. And so I just want to close out this podcast episode today on remembering that it's absolutely okay to feel really uncomfortable when you're setting these goals, because it's a sign that you're pushing yourself and challenging yourself to grow. I'm going to say that again. It's okay to feel uncomfortable when setting goals. And that's because it's a sign that you're pushing yourself and challenging yourself to grow. You really want to make sure that you are making the best decisions and you're setting the best goals. And so by embracing this discomfort and challenging yourself to keep going, I look at it as you cannot lose, right? Because you will never give up on you. You might need to modify the plan and you might need to bring in extra resources, right? There might be some changes, but ultimately you're still striving for that goal that is rooted in something incredibly powerful, right? It's rooted in something that is core to you and has a really tangible outcome that is going to, when implemented with these outside factors, right? By visualizing the success and by digging really, really deep, by getting this outside accountability, by celebrating these wins, by looking at every single quote unquote failure as a lesson, like what am I going to be celebrating here? You can absolutely have these things rooted in something incredibly powerful. And so, of course, like I said earlier, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I have some resources for you. I have the focus planner, which is complete with a training because, right, who's going to throw you a planner and then not know how to use it? Because there's an actual method to this. There's a strategy and planning to this. So it's going to be able to maximize this planner so that you can actually not only create these goals, but also break them down and feel really, really good along the way. And so the focus planner method, it spells out focus, okay? So the F stands for really understanding your financial plan for the year and then also for the month, because there's a monthly and a yearly planner. Then the O stands for organizing those thoughts, right? Getting all those thoughts that are mumbo jumbo in your brain. We got to get them out onto paper, or you can use an audio format of this if you really choose to, or get a friend to take your notes for you, right? The C stands for actually creating those goals that you have now figured out based off of, your financial plan and your brain dump, right? Your thoughts. Then we have U is actually understanding either your year, if you're planning your year, or understanding your month, right? We're going to actually break that all down based off of those things. And then S stands for streamlining or simplifying your tasks. So making that plan really come to life based off of all those goals. And of course, I recommend ClickUp to make all of this stuff all flow together. But you can head to theproductivityimpact.com or head to the show notes and actually click on the focus planner to grab yours today. Okay. So I hope you find that this focus planner method is incredibly helpful for really having you brainstorm and really get these things out of your brain and really having a forward plan forward. And really that this podcast has really helped you feel a lot more comfortable with setting these goals because we're going to root them in something incredibly deep and have this really, really be powerful moving forward. And so I'm going to ask you for one little favor. I want you to share with me what your biggest challenges are when it comes to goal setting. Okay? I want you to share your thoughts in the comments or you can send me a DM. Either way, because I want to connect with you and I really want you to, continue into 2025 feeling really, really good about these goals. All right. Especially if you're feeling incredibly uncomfortable right now. Maybe you haven't actually set your goals for the year, which is totally okay. Right? It's totally okay to feel uncomfortable and not have these goals set. But I hope that this podcast has helped you be able to break down a few things. So I really want to support you and I want anyone else to be able to support you as well. So share what your biggest challenges are when it comes to goal setting in the comments below. Or, of course, if you want to have a personal conversation with me about this, absolutely send me a DM on Instagram or you can send me an email at carolee@theproductivityimpact.com. All right, let's make this year you not only set these goals, but you also achieve them.